In a busy city full of movement and dreams, a 17-year-old boy named Jamal lived quietly on the margins. With messy black hair, thoughtful brown eyes, and a worn green hoodie that he rarely took off, he blended into the background. He was homeless, surviving day to day, often invisible to the crowd. But inside, he held a vision far bigger than his circumstances. One freezing winter morning, Jamal stumbled into a small, cozy cafe. The warmth inside wrapped around him like a blanket. He sat in a corner, clutching a cheap, lukewarm coffee, hoping to escape the cold for just a little while. The barista, noticing his worn-out clothes and tired face, offered him a free muffin. It was a simple gesture, but to Jamal, it felt like a spark, like someone, somewhere, cared. That moment stayed with him. He returned to the cafe day after day, using their free Wi-Fi to stay connected to the world. As he sat there, he watched customers scrolling through apps, managing their lives with ease, finding directions, ordering food, chatting with friends. A thought struck him. What if there was an app for people like me? For those who had nowhere to go, no one to ask for help. He scribbled the idea onto the back of an old receipt, an app to connect homeless teens with resources, shelters, hot meals, clean clothes, job opportunities. It was just a thought, but it wouldn't leave him alone. It grew louder every day. The challenge? Jamal had no money, no tech background, no device of his own. Still, something inside him said, try. So he did. Borrowing time on the cafe's Wi-Fi, he devoured online coding tutorials, watching YouTube videos and reading documentation on mobile app development. At night, he'd find a place to sleep, an alleyway, a bench. And in the morning, he returned to the cafe to learn some more. Progress was slow. Every click, every line of code was a struggle. But Jamal was determined. He built small practice apps, learning bit by bit. His lived experience helped him shape features, GPS-based shelter locators, daily meal listings, emergency contacts, and even a peer chat system. The app began to take shape, rough but real. Then came a blow. His old donated laptop finally gave out, taking his work with it. Jamal was crushed. Everything he had built seemed lost, but he didn't give up. The next day, he returned to the cafe and explained what had happened. What followed amazed him. The barista and staff, moved by his story and relentless spirit, launched a fundraiser night called Tech for Hope. Word spread. Customers donated, teens volunteered, local businesses offered help. Someone brought him a used laptop. Another offered to mentor him in coding. Suddenly, Jamal wasn't building the app alone. It had become a community project. Together, they rebuilt. His app, now named Opus, became more than a tool. It became a symbol of resilience, of unity, of what happens when people choose to care. Months passed. After countless revisions, tests, and long nights, launch day arrived. Jamal stared at the screen, his finger hovering over the publish button. He thought of every setback, every kind gesture, every night spent dreaming under city lights, and pressed it. Within hours, Opus had thousands of downloads. Messages started pouring in. Teens found shelters. Volunteers signed up. Community centers reached out. Jamal read each message with teary eyes. The app was working. The local media picked up the story. Then, a tech startup founder reached out, impressed by what Jamal had built. He offered Jamal an internship, a mentor, and funding to scale Opus. For the first time, Jamal saw a real future, one not shaped by survival, but by purpose. With support, Jamal expanded Opus beyond his city. He organized workshops for at-risk youth, teaching them basic coding and digital skills. He spoke at events, always returning to the message that drove him. Your circumstances do not define your potential. He kept the green hoodie. It reminded him of the boy who once sat alone in a cafe, shivering but hopeful. Now, as Jamal stands in front of a room full of teenagers learning to code, he smiles. I know how hard it is to feel like you don't belong, but I promise, your story matters. You matter. Through Opus and through his own journey, Jamal proved that even in the darkest places, light can be found. With empathy, tech, and a little help, one idea can ripple outward, transforming lives, one connection at a time.